Appamada and its programs are supported by your generosity, and your generosity and support makes such a difference. You can find a link for contributions on the website at appamada.org. Thank you.
Good day and good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here, wherever you are. Today is May 27th, 2022, and I'm Robin Bradford, and I'll be giving today's Dharma talk on the question of how we create the causes and conditions to create the world we actually want. And I must first thank and credit our senior teacher, Peg, and entrusted teacher, Laurie, who very much directed and guided me with this offering today. And so if something works for you, you have them to thank. And if something fails, I'll be responsible for that. So our practice and our vow is, as Zen Buddhists, to be present with whatever is happening, right? And today, and the last few days, we've been present with this truth that 31 people, including 19 children, were killed by young men using guns designed for war. Many more people were wounded, and many, many others have experienced trauma that will shape their lives. And these people were just like us. These kids were just like our kids and our grandkids. They were at school, at work, at their neighborhood grocery store, and in their places of worship where they practice their spiritual practice. According to the Gun Violence Archive website, in addition, there have been 18 other mass shootings in the US in the last 15 days. So that's what we're present with. Our society, our country is in a horrific state. Our public sphere has no moral compass. And so we're asked as Buddhists with our practice to make sense of this, to consider what to do, and think about how we might stop this. So today I offer 3 responses. First, we will take refuge, returning to ourselves and each other, as we've done this morning, as we're doing now, and to ancient wisdom and our precepts and vows. Second, we'll consider the causes and conditions that created this present reality. And we'll begin to envision the future we want and the causes and conditions we need to do to create it. And finally, we will read the Metta Sutta and speak the names of the 31 victims of the mass shootings in Buffalo, New York, and Uvalde, Texas, and place them here on our altar. I wanted to show the people on Zoom the altar, and above it, there's a large blank space right now. And as we were sitting today, I was thinking that's the blank space in so many lives, but that's where the cards will go. So I wanted you guys to have a visual of that. So as Buddhists, we have a clear moral compass. That's what brought some of us here. Our precepts and our vows are unequivocal and actionable. Our first precept, do no harm to others or ourselves. This means that we recognize we're not separate from life, and we will not lead a harmful life nor encourage others to do so. We live in harmony with life and the environment that sustains it. But often we think of this precept meaning, I won't kill anyone. But actually, it's so much more expansive than that. Our precepts assume that we are all one, different waves of the same ocean of the universe. So that when someone is killed, it hurts me, it hurts you. When someone kills, I am part of that killing, and you. Each morning, we recite our Bodhisattva vow. Beings are numberless, we vow to free them. That's why we're here today. Delusions are inexhaustible, we vow to end them. Lawmakers speak their delusions. I won't repeat them. In a divided state and country, how can we end these delusions without causing more harm? Dharma gates are boundless, we vow to enter them. If you're like me, I prefer to choose the Dharma gates I enter. I like welcoming ones, like the gate here at our Zendo. But that's not actually our vow. A gate appears, we enter. No invitation, no plan. Buddha's way is unsurpassable. We vow to embody it. This practice of being with and going in isn't just theoretical or intellectual. It's in our bodies. We vow to embody it. So, what are we to do? We can cry, we can feel angry, we can rant, write letters, protest. These are just some of the appropriate responses to this present reality of piercing violence and suffering. But as Buddhists, we can't stop there. We've got to go in. We've got to stay present. The Buddhist viewpoint of vast interconnectedness means that we have powerful tools. We are imaginative, free-flowing, life-affirming. We dwell in possibility, as Emily Dickinson once wrote. So in a moment, I'll give you specific questions that we'll be discussing in pairs. But for now, I pose these. How do we want our society to go? What causes and conditions of the past have created this moment? What are the causes and conditions that we can help create for a different future? So obviously, this isn't a quick fix. It makes me think of a friend of mine named Ivy, who is Vietnamese American and Buddhist. And she told me once that she was raised to consider her life and actions in terms of 6 generations behind her and 6 generations forward, so that her present life as a stand-up comedian and mother of 2 in Austin, Texas, is a direct result of the actions of her great-great-great-great-grandparents, 6 generations back in Vietnam. And she lives, or tries to live, in a way informed by her belief that her actions are creating the reality of 6 generations in the future. This crisis of violence and suffering was created by generations of decisions and actions. It may take generations of concerted effort to change it, but that doesn't mean we're off the hook. Quite the opposite. We've got to get started. So those online and present, take out your paper and pen, and I'll ask Maria to put these questions in the chat. And Maria, just to let you know, I changed my mind. It happens. And instead of people writing on their own, I'd love for folks in a moment to just go into groups of 2. And if there's a group of, well, that'll work out. You can make 3 if there's an extra. And then here in the Zendo, we will just turn to whoever is closest to you. And I think that will work out. If not, Oh, we might have one group of 3. So the questions are these. And if you're present here, you might want to jot these down. You should jot them down. What are 3 causes and conditions that created the present reality? And the present reality I'm thinking of today is that mass gun shootings happen literally every day in our country, that more children die from guns than car accidents or disease, and the majority of gun deaths are suicides. These are just facts. What are 3 causes and conditions that created the present reality? You can do more than 3, but 3 is just like a good place to start. If you want to riff on 10, feel free. There's no like right answer. So the second question is, what are 3 attributes of the future you would like to see? Some examples might be children are safe at school, or mental health care is free and is without stigma. What are 3 attributes of the future you would like to see? And then the third question, what are 3 actions you can take toward that future? So some examples might be, and again, I'm just giving these to get your mind going, knowing the people on your block, running for office, volunteering at a school that's not your neighborhood. We're having a little background noise there, so I don't know if someone's unmuted. Or getting involved with our own Buddhist Action Now group and maybe asking them to adopt this issue. So those are just some ideas. Does everyone have the 3 questions? You guys have them here? Do you guys have them there? Yeah, okay, great. Let's take 12 minutes in breakout groups. And in that 12 minutes, you'll be with your partner, and you may decide with your partner that you want to jot some things down first, or you may decide with your partner that you're better thinking sort of out loud, riffing off of each other. Either one is fine. Please make place for the other person to speak, and when they speak, listen with your whole body. It's so tempting, especially on something we care about a lot, to be preparing our response. But let's try to drop that as best we can and just listen with our whole body. So let's go ahead and do that for 12 minutes. And well, let's say until 10:30. That will make more sense. To half after the hour. Does that work for you, Maria?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, perfect. Then let's go ahead and do that. We'll get back together at 10:30 our time. So let's take a moment to just share out of your dyad or small group actions and also reactions to this exercise. Keeping it brief because there are happily a lot of us. So going just right to the essence of what you want to share with everyone.
Claudine's got a
Claudine?
hand up. There we go. Hang on, I've just
done with 20 more minutes, I
Yes.
think. It was so short that we never came to the end.
Right, and that's actually part of the practice, I think, to keep returning back to this, especially because we know, unfortunately, this will happen again. And so it's a practice that we can use to keep from falling in the ditch of despair or the ditch of cynicism. The 2 sides. This is kind of the middle. So yeah, you're right. We need so much more time. So 6 generations. Thank you. Anyone here? Either reaction to that process or any actions that you're thinking of taking?
Like to get involved. How can we
With Buddhist,
Buddhist in action?
oh, Buddhist action now? Yeah. Our own sort of
Yes.
engaged Buddhist group.
Right.
Yes. Excellent. No wrong answers. Yes, Jean?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm just grateful that I had this opportunity to process this because I think I numbed. It was too big and I numbed. And at least it's opened me to processing this.
Right. Thank you.
Now we have Rosemary next. I think we're dancing, Rosemary. Hands off. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, like Jean, I was so happy to see this offering, Robin, and then to sit with the person in the Sangha about this was very, very nourishing. And for my possible actions, somehow getting more involved in my community, I had a thought to offer meditation in the library here for anybody that would like to sit for the families. But something in the community. And I guess writing to my representatives regarding the the laxity of gun control in the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Yeah, would you like Vivian next, Robin?
Uh-huh.
Great. Thank you for unmuting me. And thank you for this process. It's really helpful, and the breakout was extremely helpful. You know, the woman, Judy and I were both environmentalists, and we see climate change as probably the #1 problem that the planet is facing right now. And a lot of these things are sort of the side effects. And going back to colonialism and the prevalence of guns and taking land, committing genocide. In terms of actions, just being mindful about the use of water, things, energy. She's working with meditation circles with young children. Things of making donations, voting, calling representatives, and also just setting an example. And the idea of 6 generations is extremely helpful to me because it is very easy to feel overwhelmed by all of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vivian. And you've really pointed up to, we chant in the morning during the week, all my ancient twisted karma. And you just called all of that twist up, that the obvious reaction is gun control laws, but then we realize, oh my gosh, this whole thing is so big, and there's a place to enter for everyone. It's all connected.
Robin, I'd like to mention something that came up in our Buddhist Action Now meeting.
Can you speak up just a little bit?
I'll unmask one too.
Okay.
I'd like to mention something that came up in our Buddhist Action Now meeting just yesterday. And that is that it is quite likely, it's an assumption, that most of the folks in our Sangha are doing something, are active in their community in some way. So one way to gather those resources is to compile that list of information quickly so that it's available to those who want to be involved. For example, I know Lori tutors for English as a second language. And for those who want to work in the world and help in the world that way, it would be a contact, a resource. I have taken the training to do voter registration. My option is to do it through the League of Women Voters, or to have fellow Sangha members also train and us go out as a group together.
Wonderful. So an idea of kind of like a speakers bureau, but like ways to get involved in our community.
Yes.
That's a great idea.
And it's also a good way as people, it's an affirming way of our practice to see what others are doing and how they are walking in this world with our practice.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to mention that.
Thank you. That's wonderful. I see 2 more hands up, and I'm going to ask you to be brief and concise because we have just a little bit more to do today.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for me, I was thinking about the causes and conditions and thinking about when people in our society feel sacrificed in some way, you know, through poverty, inequality, lack of healthcare, lack of all kinds of things, that they then go on to sacrifice others, you know, in the way that this person has, and somehow how we need to have compassion for the whole, for everyone in the scenario. And it can be really difficult when we think about having compassion for the gunman, but it's looking at everything, you know, the people that were shot and the gunman, what brought them to this point, and what can we do and change amongst us all to offer everything to everyone so that these kind of things don't happen. And yes, it'll take a long time to make these changes, but it's having that compassion and love for everyone in the scenario.
Yeah. Thank you. And Genevieve, you'll be the last.
Ooh.
Hi, I just wanted to mention that there was a gun massacre in a mosque in Australia in '96, and they changed the gun laws, and there's been one mass gun shooting in the 26 years since then. And that change happened overnight when they changed the gun laws, and they had a gun drive to get the guns off the streets. And so I would second Nelda. I think voter registration and voter drives, and making the connection for people between who they vote for and what laws we have, as well as supporting anyone who's getting accurate information out there, are 2 ways we can see change sooner than maybe we think we can.
Thank you. And so now we'll thank you for offering yourself to your partner and listening. And as someone said, just beginning this process for ourselves individually and ourselves as, you know, small groups, whether it's where we work at a school or here in our Sangha or with your family or friends. This is just a seed. So take these questions with you and continue to practice with them. And again, I thank Peg, who brought forward that viewpoint, which certainly was transformative to me when she shared it via Laurie. Now, the next 2 things that we'll do are folks who are here in the Sangha. When you came back, you found some cards and some little slips of paper with names of victims from one of the 2 shootings. And so if you could please copy the name from the piece of paper onto the card in the next few moments. And yes, Nelda, I'm sorry, yours are over there. And folks online, your role is going to be to read the names. And so go ahead, while you're here now, do write your names. You have probably 4, so Kim, you have some?
I wrote.
Oh, good, okay. And so Maria has the list first of the victims of the shooting in Buffalo 2 weeks ago yesterday, and then she'll bring up the list of the more recent shooting in Uvalde. And so the way that we'll do this online is, or the way that I can think of doing it, and Maria, if you have another idea, welcome it, is to just have folks step forward and say a name, and people might step over each other and they'll sort it out. Will that work okay, Maria?
Yeah, that's fine. Or I can call on people, whichever.
I think that'll be too slow, and I think it will be disruptive. I'd love to just be able to hear the names. And so what it will require of you online is that you, well, first it'll require Maria to unmute to allow everyone to unmute themselves. And then you'll have to unmute yourself, say the name, and then mute yourself back.
Yeah.
And if you have some extra noise, maybe you can mute anyone if you can find who it is.
Yeah, that's great.
There are enough names that I'm guessing each one of you online will say at least one name and possibly two. And so you'll just step forward spontaneously, no rush, but also no need to wait. Is that clear for you online? So you'll be reading the names aloud, and we hear once you finish your cards, I need to do mine, or maybe, yeah, sure. When you hear, you'll have your cards in front of you, and when you hear your person's name, you'll approach the altar, something like this, just approaching the altar. Oh, we'll hold on just a sec, we'll do that in a sec. You'll approach the altar and bow and place the name on one of these racks. And Kim, it looks like we forgot to offer incense.
I'm going to do that now.
Okay,
yes.
awesome.
Would you like me to share the names now, Robin?
Yes, please. Can people on Zoom read that okay?
So if people unmute and say the name and then mute yourselves again.
Roberta A. Drury, Marcus D. Morrison.
Andrew McNeil, Aaron Poulter,
Geraldine Tolley, Celestine Cheney.
Hayward Patterson, Catherine Massey.
Excuse me, you'll need to go back to the third name that you read and read them slowly to allow us to bring that name to the altar.
Andrew McNeil, Aaron Salter,
Geraldine Tolley,
Celestin Cheney,
Haywood Patterson,
Catherine Massey,
Pearl Young,
Ruth Whitfield,
That's everyone in Buffalo.
Nevaya Bravo,
Jacqueline Casares,
Makina Lee Elrod.
let's pause for a moment till they catch up.
Jacqueline Casares again.
Oh, there's a little slot.
I see it now, thank you. Thank you.
Jose Flores,
Did we have a Jose Flores?
It's been done.
Ellie Garcia,
Uzia Garcia,
Ameri Joe Garza,
Javier Lopez,
Jace Louis Vanos,
Kes Mata,
Miranda Mathis,
Alicia Ramirez,
Anabel Rodriguez.
Maite Rodriguez.
Alexandria Lexi Rubio.
Jayla Nicole Silguero.
Leila Salazar.
Eliahana Cruz Torres.
Rogelio Torres.
Eva Mireles.
Irma Garcia.
I'm sorry, the chant books. Please turn to page 17. We'll now chant the Metta Sutta. As you read these words, which you have probably read many times, listen closely. They are not just a blessing or good wishes. They are our foundation for action. You may want to return to the Metta Sutta again and again as you continue your own work with these questions. And you can find it on our website. Metta Sutta. I'm gonna go stand before the altar. I think that makes sense. Metta Sutta. This is what should be accomplished by the one who is wise, who seeks the good and has obtained peace. Let one be strenuous, upright, and sincere, without pride, easily contented, and joyous. Let one not be submerged by the things of the world. Let one not take upon oneself the burden of riches. Let one's senses be controlled. Let one be wise but not puffed up, and let one not desire great possessions even for one's family. Let one do nothing that is mean or that the wise would reprove. May all beings be happy. May they be joyous and live in safety. all living beings, whether weak or strong, in high or middle or low realms of existence, small or great, visible or invisible, near or far, born or to be born, may all beings be happy. Let no one deceive another, nor despise any being in any state. Let none by anger or hatred wish harm to another. Even as a mother, at the risk of her life, watches over and protects her only child, so with a boundless mind should one cherish all living things, diffusing love over the entire world, above, below, and all around, without limit. So let one cultivate an infinite goodwill toward the whole world, standing or walking, sitting or lying down, during all one's waking hours. Let one practice the way with gratitude, not holding to fixed views, endowed with insight, free from sense appetites. One who achieves the way will be free from the duality of birth and death.
In offering incense, observing silence, reading the Metta Sutta, and discussing the causes and conditions of the present reality, we extend compassionate care to and all those who are gravely ill, lacking basic necessities, or suffering violence in the world in thought, word, or deed. May they be serene through all their suffering, and may they, together with all beings, realize the awakened way.
Please stand.
Get ready for standing bows. Let us be respectfully reminded, life and death are of supreme importance. Time swiftly passes by, and with it, our only chance. Each of us must strive to awaken. Be aware, do not squander our life. Appamada's programs and facilities are supported through your generosity. Thank you for your support. There is a Dana box for contributions in the kitchen and also a link for contributions on the website.